Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to the Fluent Zone, your favorite place to enjoy interesting English stories and improve your listening and speaking skills. Today, we've brought you another exciting story that will not only entertain you, but also take you one step closer to becoming fluent in English.
Hey, welcome to English Learning Stories. Welcome, everyone. My name is Maria. I am 30 years old. This is my story. It is not a happy story at the beginning. But maybe, just maybe, there is hope at the end. I want to tell you how my life changed. It changed very fast. One morning, everything was normal. The next morning, my world was broken. I lived in a small town. The town was quiet and green. We had a nice house. It had a small garden with red flowers. I loved those flowers. My husband, Alex, and I lived there. We were married for 5 years. 5 happy years or so, I thought. Alex was kind. He had a warm smile. He worked in the city. He came home every evening. We ate dinner together. We watched movies. We talked about our day. Our life felt perfect, like a dream. I felt safe. I felt loved. I thought we would be together forever. I remember that morning clearly. It was a Tuesday. The sun was shining. Birds were singing outside our window. I woke up happy. I made coffee just like every morning. Alex was already awake. He was standing by the window. He looked serious. I asked him, "Is everything okay, Alex?" He turned around. His face was different. His eyes were sad. He didn't smile. He said, "Maria, I need to tell you something." My heart started beating fast. I felt cold suddenly. "What is it?" I asked. My voice was small. He took a deep breath. "I'm leaving," he said. Just like that, 3 simple words, but they broke my world. "Leaving? Where are you going?" I asked. I thought maybe it was a work trip, a long one. He shook his head. "No, Maria, I am leaving you." I couldn't understand. Leaving me? Why? Did I do something wrong? Tears started to fill my eyes. He looked down at the floor. "It's not you," he said. "It's me. I need something different." "Something different," I whispered. "What does that mean?" He didn't answer. He just walked to the closet. He took out a big bag. He started putting his clothes inside shirts, pants, his favorite blue sweater. I watched him. I couldn't move. My legs felt like stone. My mind was empty. This was not real. This was a bad dream. I wanted to wake up. He packed quickly. He didn't look at me. When the bag was full, he closed it. He put it near the door. Then he came to me. He touched my arm gently. "I'm sorry, Maria," he said. His voice was low. "I didn't want to hurt you. I pulled my arm away." "Sorry," I cried. "You are breaking my heart. You are destroying our life and you say sorry." He looked away again. "I have to go," he said. He picked up his bag. He walked to the door. He opened it. He paused for a moment. He looked back at me one last time. His eyes were full of sadness or maybe guilt. "I don't know." Then he said, "Goodbye, Maria." And he walked out. He closed the door behind him. Silence. The house was suddenly very quiet. Too quiet. I stood there for a long time. I didn't move. I just stared at the closed door. My perfect life was gone. Just like that. In one morning, my husband left me. I was alone, and I was so afraid. The first few hours were a blur. I don't remember much. I think I sat on the floor. I cried. I cried until my eyes were dry, until my head hurt. The coffee I made was still on the table. It was cold now. The sun was still shining outside. Birds were still singing, but inside my house, inside my heart, everything was dark. Everything was broken. I looked around the living room. Our photos were on the wall, us smiling on our wedding day, us laughing on a beach vacation, us holding hands in our garden. Happy memories. Now they felt like sharp knives in my heart. I wanted to take them down. I wanted to hide them. But I couldn't move. I just sat there, alone, afraid. The first night was the worst. The house felt huge and empty. Every small sound made me jump, the wind outside, the clock ticking, the house creaking. I went to our bedroom. His side of the bed was empty. His pillow was still there. It smelled a little like him. I held the pillow and cried again. Sleep did not come. I just lay there, staring into the darkness, thinking, why? What did I do wrong? Was our love not real? Was it all a lie? The next day, I didn't get out of bed. I didn't eat. I didn't drink. The phone rang sometimes. Maybe it was my mother, maybe my friend Clara. I didn't answer. I didn't want to talk to anyone. What could I say? My husband left me. My perfect life is over. I felt ashamed. I felt like a failure. Days passed like this slowly, painfully. I lost track of time. I stayed inside the house. The curtains were closed. The world outside didn't matter. My world was this house, this empty, silent house, this broken heart. I felt so lost. I didn't know what to do next. How could I live without him? He was my everything, my partner, my friend, my love. One afternoon, someone knocked on the door. Loudly. I didn't want to open it, but the knocking continued. Finally, I got up. My legs were weak. I looked through the small hole in the door. It was Mrs. Peterson, my neighbour. She was an old lady, very kind. She always smiled at me. I opened the door a little. "Maria, dear," she said. Her voice was soft. "Are you all right? I haven't seen you for days. I was worried. I couldn't speak." Tears started rolling down my cheeks again. She looked at me with kind eyes. "Oh, my dear child," she whispered. She gently pushed the door open and came inside. She didn't ask questions. She just put her arms around me. She held me while I cried. It was the first hug I had received since Alex left. It felt warm. It felt safe. Mrs. Peterson stayed with me for a while. She made me some tea. She opened the curtains. "Let some light in, dear," she said. Darkness doesn't help. She talked about simple things, her garden, her cat, the weather. She didn't talk about Alex. She just stayed with me. Her presence was comforting. Before she left, she said, "You are stronger than you think, Maria. Remember that." After Mrs. Peterson left, I felt a little better. Just a little. I looked around the house. It was messy. Dishes were in the sink. Clothes were on the floor. Dust was everywhere. I realized I couldn't live like this. I had to do something, even a small thing. I started with the kitchen. I washed the dishes slowly, carefully, each plate, each cup. It was a simple task, but it felt good to do something normal. Then I cleaned the table. I threw away the cold coffee. I opened the window. Fresh air came in. It smelled like rain and grass. It felt real. That evening, I made myself some soup, just simple vegetable soup. I sat at the table and ate it slowly. It was the first real meal I had eaten in days. It wasn't much, but it was a start. I told myself, one step at a time, Maria, just one step. The next few weeks were still very hard. There were good days and bad days. On good days, I would clean the house. I would go for a short walk. I would talk to Mrs. Peterson. On bad days, I stayed in bed. I cried. I missed Alex so much it hurt my chest. The pain was always there, like a heavy stone in my heart. I started thinking about practical things too. Money. Alex used to handle the bills. I didn't know much about our finances. I found the bank statements. I looked at the numbers. My heart sank. We didn't have much savings. Alex's salary was gone now. How would I pay the rent, the bills? How would I buy food? fear came back stronger. This time, I was not just heartbroken. I was scared about my future. I needed a job. I hadn't worked since we got married. Alex wanted me to stay home. He said he could take care of everything. Now I wished I had a job. I wished I had my own money. I looked through the local newspaper. There were not many job openings in our small town, a waitress position, a cleaner position, a shop assistant. I didn't have much experience. I felt nervous. Could I do it? I decided to try. I applied for the job at the local library. It was a part-time assistant position helping people find books, keeping the shelves tidy. It sounded quiet. It sounded nice. I went for the interview. My hands were shaking. I didn't feel confident, but the librarian, Mrs. Gable, was kind. She asked me simple questions. She smiled warmly. A few days later, she called me. "Maria," she said, "the job is yours if you want it." I cried again, but this time they were tears of relief. Maybe hope, too. Starting the job was hard. I was shy. I didn't talk much, but the library was a peaceful place, quiet, full of books, full of stories. I liked being there. It helped me forget my own sad story for a few hours each day. Mrs. Gable was patient with me. She taught me how to use the computer system, how to help people find what they needed. Slowly, I started to feel more comfortable. I even started talking a little with the visitors, an old man who loved history books, a young girl who loved fairy tales, a mother looking for parenting books. Working helped me feel a little bit useful. It gave me a reason to get out of bed in the morning. It gave me a small income. It wasn't much, but it helped pay the bills. I was still lonely. I was still sad, but I wasn't completely helpless anymore. One day, while cleaning the house, I found an old box. It was under the bed. Inside were my old drawing supplies, pencils, paints, sketchbooks. I used to love drawing when I was younger before I met Alex. I stopped drawing after we got married. He wasn't interested in art. He said it was a waste of time. I looked at the pencils. My fingers wanted to hold them again. That evening, I sat at the kitchen table. I opened a sketchbook. I took a pencil. I started to draw just simple things at first. A flower from the garden, a cup of tea, my neighbour's cat sleeping on the fence. It felt good. My mind became quiet. The pain seemed less sharp when I was drawing. It was like finding an old friend, a part of me that I had forgotten. I started drawing every evening. It became my quiet time, my healing time. Sometimes I drew happy things. Sometimes I drew my sadness. Tears fell on the paper sometimes. But drawing helped me express feelings I couldn't say in words. Months passed. Winter came. Snow covered the town. The house felt cold sometimes, especially at night. But I learned how to make a fire in the fireplace. I bought warm blankets. I drank hot tea. I read books from the library. I drew in my sketchbook. Life was quiet, simple, sometimes lonely, but I was surviving. I still missed Alex. Sometimes I wondered where he was, what he was doing. Was he happy? Did he ever think of me? I heard from a friend that he had moved to another city, that he was living with someone else. It hurt. It hurt a lot. It felt like he left me all over again, but this time the pain didn't break me completely. I cried for a day. Then I picked up my pencil and drew. I drew a storm. Then I drew a small boat surviving the storm. Before I share more of my story, I want to ask you something. Where are you listening from? It helps me feel less alone, knowing someone is hearing my words, someone who might understand. Please tell me in the comments. I would really like to know. Spring came, the snow melted. The flowers in my garden started to bloom again. Red flowers, yellow flowers, purple flowers. They looked beautiful. Seeing them grow gave me a little bit of hope. Maybe I could grow again too. Maybe life could be beautiful again. Even after the storm, I kept working at the library. I became better at my job. Mrs. Gable gave me more responsibilities. I started helping with story time for the children on Saturdays. At first, I was nervous. Talking in front of people was hard for me, but the children were sweet. Their eyes were full of wonder. They laughed at the funny parts of the stories. They asked simple, honest questions. Their joy was contagious. I started to enjoy story time. It made me smile, a real smile. My neighbour, Mrs. Peterson, continued to be a good friend. We often had tea together. She taught me how to bake apple pie. Her recipe was famous in the town. Baking was another thing I started to enjoy. The smell of cinnamon and apples filled the house. It made it feel more like a home again. One afternoon, Mrs. Peterson asked me, "Maria, have you thought about joining the town's art club? They meet every Thursday evening at the community centre." I hesitated. "I don't know," I said. "I just draw for myself. I'm not very good." She smiled. "Nonsense, dear. Your drawings are lovely, and it's not about being good. It's about sharing something you love and maybe meeting new people." I thought about it for a few days. I was scared. Meeting new people was still hard for me. What if they didn't like my drawings? What if they didn't like me? But a small part of me wanted to try. I wanted to step out of my quiet world a little more. So the next Thursday, I went. My hands were cold. My heart was beating fast. I walked into the community centre room. There were about 10 people there. Some were old, some were young. They were painting, drawing, talking, laughing. A woman with bright red hair came to me. "Hello," she said cheerfully. "You must be new. I'm Linda. Welcome." Her smile was warm. It made me feel a little less scared. I found a quiet corner. I took out my sketchbook and pencils. I started drawing. People were friendly. They came over to say hello. They looked at my drawings and said nice things. "Your style is so delicate," one man said. "I love the way you draw flowers," Linda said. I felt my cheeks get warm, but it was a good feeling. I started going to the art club every week. I made a few friends there. Linda became a good friend. She was funny and full of energy. She made me laugh. We started having coffee together sometimes. We talked about art, life, dreams. It felt good to have a friend my age again. Life wasn't perfect. I still had lonely evenings. I still missed the life I thought I had. Sometimes I saw couples walking hand in hand, and my heart felt a pang of sadness. Healing takes time. I understood that now. It's okay to feel sad sometimes. It's okay to remember. But it's also important to keep moving forward. One day, I was looking through old photos. I found one of me when I was about 20 before Alex. I was smiling. My eyes looked bright, full of hope. I looked at myself in the mirror now. I was 30. My eyes looked different. Sadder, maybe. Wiser too. I had lines on my face that weren't there before, but I was still me. Maria. I had survived. I was still here. I started to think about the future not with fear, but with curiosity. What did I want now? I liked my job at the library. I loved drawing and baking. I enjoyed my time with Mrs. Peterson and Linda. My life was small, but it was mine. I was building it myself, piece by piece. I decided to do something brave. I asked Mrs. Gable if I could display some of my drawings in the library, just small ones, flowers, landscapes of our town. She loved the idea. Of course, Maria, she said. They are beautiful. People will love them. We put up about 10 drawings on a small wall near the entrance. I felt so nervous. What if people didn't like them? But people did. They stopped to look. They smiled. Some even asked if they could buy them. I was surprised and happy. I sold 2 drawings that first week. It wasn't about the money. It was about feeling seen, feeling appreciated for something I created. My small house didn't feel so empty anymore. It felt like my space, my sanctuary. I filled it with books, drawings, the smell of baked goods, and quiet peace. I planted more flowers in the garden, pink ones this time, and white ones. They made the house look cheerful. I learned that happiness is not always about having a perfect life. It's not about having another person complete you. Happiness can be found in small things. A quiet morning with tea, a good book, a finished drawing, a warm conversation with a friend, a child's laugh during story time, the smell of rain, the colours of a sunset. I was still alone in some ways, but I wasn't afraid anymore. Fear was replaced by a quiet strength, a strength I didn't know I had. Alex leaving broke my heart. It broke the life I knew, but it didn't break me. I learned to stand on my own feet. I learned to find joy in unexpected places. I learned to be my own person. Sometimes I wonder if I will love again, if I will share my life with someone else. I don't know the answer. Maybe yes, maybe number. But I know this. If I do love again, it will be different. I will not lose myself. I will look for kindness, respect, and honesty. I will look for a partner who walks beside me, not someone I follow. My story started with heartbreak. It started with feeling alone and afraid, but it didn't end there. Life goes on. The sun rises every day. Flowers bloom after winter, and hearts can heal slowly, gently, with patience and self-love. Now, when I wake up in the morning, I make coffee. I look out the window. I see my garden. I see the quiet town. I take a deep breath. I don't know what the day will bring, but I am ready for it. I am Maria. I am 30 years old. I am not just the woman whose husband left her. I am a librarian assistant. I am an artist. I am a baker. I am a friend. I am a survivor. And maybe, just maybe, I am starting to feel happy again. If you are going through a hard time right now, please know this. You are not alone. It feels dark now. I know. It feels like the pain will never end, but it will get better. Be kind to yourself. Take small steps. Find little things that bring you comfort. Reach out to someone you trust. Or find strength in quiet moments alone. You are stronger than you think. You can survive this. Keep going one day at a time. Thank you for listening to my story.